Welcome everybody to the September 2nd Select Board meeting. We'll start off with saying the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Brian, you have the general fund warrants this week.
General fund warrant dated August 28th, 2025, and total amount is $72,796.78. Per usual, usually mention the health insurance, just so people see how much that is. This time it's Blue Cross Blue Shield is $35,903.99. So that amount makes up just under 50% of the general fund warrant this time around. Everything else looks pretty routine. So with that said, I would make a motion to pass the general fund warrant in the amount of $72,796.78.
I'll second that.
Perfect. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Jeff, you have two payroll.
Yep, so I have two payroll warrants tonight. The first one's dated August 22nd, 2025, and that one is in the amount of $39,381.41, and that's pretty standard. And the second one dated August 29th of 2025, that one is in the amount of $49,776.42, and that one's quite a bit larger because of some employee retirement reconciliations, and then they were submitted to the state of Vermont. So I'll make a motion that we approve these warrants as presented.
Second that.
Thank you. We have a motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Amanda, you have the miscellaneous for us.
Yes, I have an infrastructure development warrant for complete demolition service in the amount of $1,500. It's for the asbestos assessment for tearing down the 282 George Shore Road. I can go through all of them, right? And then we'll.
Yeah.
And I have an impact fee warrant for Mike Goslin that we voted to waive, as he had already paid all of the other impact assessments fees prior to. And then I have a Stonehouse warrant, which has 2 band invoices and 1 signage to Main Street Graphics. And that one is in the amount of $2,192.50. And the impact fee warrant waiver for Mike Goslin was $2,893.34. And then I have the stormwater utility warrant, which has an invoice for the Poulin companies in the amount of $63,000, Cross Consulting in the amount of $3,043.65, credit card services of $35, and the Engineer Construction Incorporated. This is the Clyde Allen Stormwater Construction Project, so that one's $333,325. So the total amount of the stormwater utility warrant is $399,403.65. I motion that we approve these warrants as presented.
Okay, good. Motion.
Second.
Thank you, Jack. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's the minutes. All the warrants. In your packet, you have the minutes from August 18th. Somebody will make a motion to approve. So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public.
I didn't
comment.
vote. I wasn't here, just for the record.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Would anybody like to make a public comment? Come on up, one of this.
Hi, everybody. My name is Paul Snyder. Most of you know me as Executive Director of Northwest Access TV. Tonight, I'm taking off that hat and putting on the resident of St. Albans hat. I do have a prepared statement, so bear with me here. I have some comments regarding conversation held by the Select Board on August 18th at your last meeting. Interim Town Manager Corey Parent updated the Select Board about the completion of the culvert on Fairfax Street. While I too am excited about the road being reopened, I was less than impressed with how the Select Board member's response was to condoning of speeding on that street. Many motorists treat Fairfax Street as an access road between Route 7 and 104, and many forget that it's a residential neighborhood. Speeding in any capacity really shouldn't be tolerated. Mr. Parent has publicly stated that residents of Fairfax Street are frustrated with people speeding, and sadly, when brought up just last meeting, was met with humor and zero conversation for change. There are pets, children, pedestrians, no sidewalks, blind drives, hills, school property, a cemetery, and zero stop signs to deter drivers from speeding on Fairfax Street. Recently, the police have added a temporary radar unit near the cemetery. Having been a resident on Fairfax Street for the past 12 years, the temporary solution has yet to yield change. Motorists continue to travel at high speeds all hours of the day and night. When I made this request several years ago for the town to look into the solutions, my request was marked as a state issue. So when I asked state officials, it was then passed back to the town issue. So here I am once again formally requesting that the select board look into permanent solutions to deter motorists from speeding on Fairfax Street. Conversations with my fellow neighbors have brainstormed everything from speed bumps to stop signs at every intersection, including but not limited to Clyde Allen Drive, Thorpe Ave Extension, and Parsons Ave. It's my belief that those additions will force motorists to stop at several intervals along Fairfax Street, stopping it from being just a straightaway road. I'm also hoping my presence at this meeting will spark that conversation among you, along with residents' concerns being taken a little more seriously when brought up by Mr. Parent or other town officials. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Come on up.
I'm David Bray, live in the town of St. Albans, private citizen. I was actually going to talk a little bit about what this past gentleman just spoke about. He did it much more elegantly than I could, but I guess my quick thought on it was, I know the speed limit up there right now is 35 miles an hour. Is there any way that we could move that back to like 25 miles an hour while we're waiting for the sidewalks to be built? That's at a meeting I attended last week. They talked about the speeding and lack of sidewalks, kids and adults having to walk in the roads. I think the planning commission is leaning towards making that one of the priorities to get sidewalks up there, but it's a ways out before that's going to happen. So as Jack said, government always takes time. Changing the speed limit, I think, is within your purview, and maybe you could do that fairly quickly, and that might take a little bit of pressure off. That's my first. I'll have to say about that. I do have one more thing I'd like to discuss, if I could. I prepared a little info sheet if I can pass out to people. It has to do with the boat access that's available here in St. Albans. I did a roll around
Thank you.
town the other day, and I looked at
Thank you.
what's available. When I went around town the other day, I tried to count up what was available for boat access parking places. And we know the halfway point is always a cluster out there. Anybody that goes by there on the weekends, it's jammed packed. And I see signs are up that they're not wanting anybody to park along the halfway point road anymore, which makes it even more complicated. As an alternative, and one that's not highly advertised, is Killcare. I stopped out there the other day and I talked to the lady that's at the attendant. She says that they are very seldom ever filled. She said that they have plenty of parking spots for both trailers, people that want to go with canoes, kayaks, and those types of things. And the fees, as she explained to me, are quite reasonable. If you're an old guy like Jack and I, we can get a lifetime pass to use that space for $2. If you're younger, like the rest of you folks on the board, you can get a vehicle pass for $105 a year. That's really pretty cheap. I know if you use any of these other marinas, it's a heck of a lot more expensive than that. I understand everybody's thinking and leaning towards using the Old Town Garage as a site. My concern there is that I think what I've seen on the study, that it will create about 22 slips. And the ramp that's going down is gonna have to be somewhere in the range of 225 feet long.
Dave, can I just stop you real quick? There has been no official engineering. It was all just kind of like not even, it's a conceptual plan. That company, VHB, had never designed a boat launch to my knowledge. So to use that as like a factual statement, I don't know if you want to say that or not, but like, I think that's not stating the facts. Like, no grades were ever shot. A transit was never set up. That's what Megan said during one of those meetings. So I just want to make sure that what you're saying is actual fact.
I just, okay,
I'm
heard,
just saying, like, just because you're spewing out words, like, doesn't mean like that's what's going on.
okay,
Like, we don't even know if it's feasible yet, but we're trying to see if it's feasible. Because if you look at the land, like, there's a lot of things that were never looked at. But like I said, that was just a conceptual plan.
Hmm.
That's all.
I walked it just for my own edification, and it is a pretty high bank over there. If I compared that one to what's up at Cohen Park's a lot lower up there. And I counted the parking spaces up there. There's 29 parking spaces currently for cars, but you could create 19 of those to trailers by just paving another 20 feet back where the current parking lot is. I just, the whole access, having been involved with a couple of dredges in some marinas and stuff, they get really expensive, but I looked at that one and I mean, it just struck me as being maybe a cheaper proposal. And I'm only tossing this out just for you guys for consideration. I did a little homework on it. These are the facts that I found. I apologize about that 200. I'd actually heard a number 225. That's why I said 200. Yeah, I know it would be a long ramp because that's a steep bank. So anyways, and the other, finally, the last thing about using that over there is we've talked about trying to make the bay a kind of a growth area for us. We want to attract people down there. To me, if we put in a boat access down there, we're going to attract 22 people. If we can wait a little bit longer and maybe get water and sewer down to the bay, that property has a lot more potential of what can do to maybe bring more people to the bay, if that's what everybody's thinking. Again, I'm just throwing those out for your thoughts and your considerations, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else for public comment? Anybody on Zoom? Okay, John Knox.
Okay, good evening. I just wanted to give an update on our RFP for the upcoming reappraisal. We received two proposals from our RFP. One is from MAK Valuation Consultants out of Fort Myers, Florida. The other one is from Tyler Technologies out of Moraine, Ohio. Both have been in business for several years and both are very qualified to perform a town reappraisal of our size. Tyler Technology is currently certified by the Vermont Department of Taxes to perform reappraisals in the state of Vermont. Their senior project manager, John Vickery, who some of you may know, is also on Vermont's approved appraiser list. MAK is now in the process of becoming certified with the state of Vermont. It's my understanding they're fairly far along in that process. MAK has performed most of their reappraisal work in the Colorado and Florida area, and they're currently expanding into the Vermont market. Tyler has reappraised several Vermont towns, including South Burlington, Shelburne, Bakersfield, and most recently, St. Albans City. Both of those firms have provided multiple references for us to check. The time frame for both, MAK's time frame, they'll start on October of 2025, and they have a finishing date of July of 2026. Tyler would start in June of 2027, so they'd be out another year, and they'd finish in August of 2028. The price MAK's price came in at $447,856. Tyler was $420,000. So MAK could start a year earlier. Tyler comes in about $47,000 cheaper. Lastly, both companies have said that they involved the assessor's office and the assessor in all of their day-to-day work, which I think is great. So that's a positive for both. That's kind of just breaking down the bullet points of the two. Both the proposals are in my office if you need to see them, take a closer look at either one of those. So that's kind of just what I wanted to do, is give you kind of an update, see if you had any questions.
One question.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the note from the interim town manager here. One of them mentioned, or one of the notes here, Tyler Technologies is also doing Georgia, and there might be a possibility of saying of kind of going with Georgia and having them at the same time or back to back or something, which could yield a slightly lower cost. You think that's possible?
It's possible. That was just kind of brought up. I've been talking to the assessor from Georgia. So they have a new assessor that took over for Bill Hinman. And she had brought that up. And I kind of mentioned that to Corey. Whether that could happen or not, I'm not sure. That would be just something we'd have to kind of negotiate.
Gotcha. And if I could ask one more question.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, big difference here is obviously when they would start.
Yep.
It can be brief, but pros and cons of having it done by July of 26 versus August of 28. I mean, that's a 2-year difference. Pros and cons to doing one versus the other.
The biggest pro, I think that, the town of St. Albans hasn't had a reappraisal since 2008. And really to balance everything out and to bring everything back into, sync, so to speak.
Yep.
The sooner the better. But it's also, a very quick time frame. Tyler, one of the things about Tyler, they're, as I said, their project manager, his name's John Vickery. He was an assessor for the city of Burlington for 22 years. He has a lot of experience in Vermont. I've been talking to him on a regular basis. He's a local guy. He still lives here. MAK also has, presence. Chris Landon is here from MAK. So I don't know if you had any questions for him or not, but so I think those are, the kind of breakdown of the pros and cons of doing it next year or waiting for 2 years.
Okay.
Do you need a motion tonight?
What's that?
Do you need a motion on this tonight?
I don't think so. That wasn't my understanding. It was,
Okay. Does anybody want to make a motion for either one, or do we want to discuss it a little bit? Or digest it longer, or discuss it further? We'll just put it on the agenda. Yeah. We'll put it
I
on the
think so.
agenda again, then when Corey's here, he can advise us what might be the best. Because they got it, the staff and Corey has to deal with it. Not, well, technically, it probably won't be Corey, but town manager and staff has to deal with it, not us, but.
right. I think he just wanted me to give you an update
An
on
update.
on
Yeah,
how
it
it's
doesn't
going.
say to have a motion. So yeah, Jen, just make sure that gets on the next agenda. Yes. Thank
So
you.
I think I have a question possibly. Are the methodologies that both firms use similar, and would the output, does the output that they produce doesn't matter to the town? Easier, same amount of ease from one vendor to the next vendor, or would the output from one mesh into our systems better, or any sense of that? Or I'm just trying to, how do you,
No, I
how do you
understand.
tease out? How
I
do you
understand
tease
what you're
out
saying.
which one would be a better fit for the town?
Yeah, I think that either one would, I think it'll be a seamless process with either. I think they've both done several reappraisals. They've both provided several references for us, that we can check on as well. I think, it would be a pretty seamless process for both.
John, are there any physical inspections of any properties? Are they like, because obviously I'm assuming we don't go look at every single one, right? There's not someone who walks around every property. They must be looking at certain information just about the house.
No, they have, feet on the street and they're going from house to house. Not everyone, but they do a majority.
Okay.
More questions?
Good for now.
Sir, okay, thank you. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, come up.
My name is Christopher Landon, and I have my own company, Landon and Associates Assessment Services LLC, which is a Vermont-based company. And to answer some of your questions that you had is when we look at processes, what I am is a subject matter expert. Just to give you a little bit of a background, I gave the clerk a copy of my resume and card. But I'm a senior instructor for the International Association of Assessing Officers, as well as a mentor. And I teach primarily the 300 level, which is mass appraisal. I have 4 designations from the IAAO, as well as I did a program through Sauter School of Business, University of British Columbia, specifically for assessment and assessment valuations using mass appraisal. And I have my VMPA, which is the highest designation for the provided by property valuation and review. Besides, a good chunk of my time is teaching. Another good chunk of my time is actually dealing with the legislature and writing articles and presenting, and then I do consulting also. So with KMA, they're going to be doing the valuation portion. I'm here as essentially the local liaison because they're coming from Florida. They do not necessarily understand the Vermont process. But as my approach to this is I'm here to help you all as far as public relations, going ahead and looking at the initial ratio study and communicating with the public. They have a firm that's out of Boston that will actually do all the inspections. So the IAAO standard is it's all properties, comparing the 2 most complex walls. You remeasure them. You can use other techniques like pictometry, which is flying over, and then you can determine the volume of a footprint of a building. So with Ken, he is doing mass appraisal and statistical analysis is one of the main things that he does. I'm coming in to help with some of the more complex problems. I have great faith in his abilities. And the important thing is by having the right tools with the right people, you're going to get a superior product. And I'm not, please do not take this as I'm slighting Tyler at all. They have wonderful products, and it's depending on what your needs are. And I understand that when it comes to costs are always something that you have to consider, but you also want to make sure that you have a good quality outcome at the end. And I believe that's what we can provide for you. Do you have any questions?
How many houses do you actually look at boots on the ground?
All.
All of them?
All. The only time that we're not going to do it is if there is a no trespassing sign,
then we'll acknowledge that there's no trespassing sign. You know, that's pretty typical. And as part of the process, we're going to sit there and say, okay, these are the procedures that we're going to follow, and this is going to be set up with the town so that you're aware of. And also in that process, we're going to sit there and say, okay, you don't want to have woodsheds as an example, you know, because they have, everybody's got a woodshed. There's no real contributory value. We'll sit there and put a note, but that's about it, as whatever works for you all. And it's my understanding that in the RP, that not planning on changing, CAMA as originally designed. So, we can work with that.
Good. Any more questions?
Good for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Okay, so to button up the former public works site, since Sean has since left, we have to appoint a new municipal authorization official. So Corey filled it out to have me as that official until we hire a new town manager. So if somebody would like to make a motion for that, it was in your packets. Somebody wants to make a motion.
What's that? No,
Yeah.
Jack made a motion. I seconded though.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So Corey's not here, obviously. There was a draft grant policy. Did everybody have a chance just to review it real quick so we can adopt it on the 9/15 meeting? Anybody have any questions on that or anything?
Yeah, and again, the gist of this, it sounds like it's just if we're applying for a grant of 10,000 or more, then we should check it through the select board first.
Well, yeah, it's just so everybody's on the same page. So we're not applying for grants that are gonna be dead in the water.
Yeah.
Quick summary of.
In this, my understanding is this is a policy seemed like we had for a while and then didn't.
Yeah,
Is
I
that
think it went
correct?
away.
Okay.
I think if I remember what Corey told me, it went. I think we lowered the amount.
Okay.
Was everybody good with that?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
And we can pass it now, sounds like, with the date on it, or do we need to wait?
I guess if we don't, somebody wants to make a motion to approve it, then. Somebody present that motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the grant policy proposed to take effect today on September 2nd, 2025.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion. I just want to just say something about a policy. If at any point we need to amend the policy, it's a fairly easy process. It's different than an ordinance, so everybody knows. Yeah, it can be changed fairly easy. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So in your packet, you had the Tier 1B memo from Northwest Regional Planning. Greta's gonna be here next meeting to discuss and
Yep.
hopefully we act on it so that we can opt into that 1B. So I'm sure we'll have some questions for her.
Yeah, I mean, do we also have to opt in for 1A, or is that already a done deal? They'll know next week.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
I mean, I read through that, and that's great. If people have been to meetings in the past, we've talked about the Act 250, Tier 1A, Tier B, 1B, and is that that was the middle ground? It'll be good
Yeah, and
next.
the other
meeting.
one I don't think applies to the rest of the town, but I think the 1B is downtown area. The rest, 1B encompasses the quarter mile around the city.
Yeah, and then we've got the village down here, and so we probably can't get to a higher tier because we don't have water sewer. Is
I
kind of
think
what
that's
I
what
understood that.
I think that's what.
Curious if if we have, if it was contingent, we ever got water and sewer, if we could be bumped
We
up
can
to
change it,
1A as
yeah,
well.
that'd be a good question.
Good
for
question.
Brenda.
Yeah, okay.
Pretty sure you're. Moving on. Oh, perfect. So just think about that for the next meeting with questions and hopefully we can get that done, because we have to get that approved at the next meeting in order for the state to recognize it. So.
Yeah, before the 30th, right?
Before the 30th, yeah. So a couple Act 250 items in there, Stanislaus Property Services and Westview Condominium Developments, informational only, no action required on both of those. So moving out of town manager's report, other business, anybody have any other business? Hearing none, the next select board meeting will be Monday, September 15th and Monday, October 6th, both starting at 6:30 PM. And we're not having an executive session tonight. Somebody make a motion to adjourn.
Hold on, the schedule on the, as it's Warren says, the 16th, but it's the 15th.
I got the 15th here.
I got the 16th here, but it's the 15th. You're right. This,
The 15th.
Yep, this is 15 on the right of that.
okay,
That's all right.
This.
yeah, we're good. I
Okay.
just, no,
Motion to adjourn,
make the motion to adjourn.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.